What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. We're gonna start putting this engine back together. So we're gonna throw it back in the Z, you know? Got some goods in, I'm gonna show you. Got them in from, order them online and stuff like that. Got my new rod in. I'm gonna show you that right now. I'm gonna start working on putting that in, and then we can move to the top. It's probably gonna be a 2-day thing because I can't knock everything out today, but we're gonna get it done, show you. But first, over here, got my new injectors. All right, I've been seeing a lot of people talk good things about DeatschWerks injectors, so I picked up their new injectors here for the Z. These are like 42-pound injectors that I run, but I might be changing out the. I was just looking at it, and I might be changing out the O-ring that you see right here, just because I ran into an issue in the past where the O-ring I had size wasn't big enough for my fast 102 intake, and it was causing some air leaks. So I'm gonna compare the two and see if they're the same size or if one is bigger than the other. If it is bigger, then I'll swap it with those. But then I got some new assembly lubrication for the ARP bolts, and I also got some more nuts and stuff like that because a couple of the ones I had were stripped or were about to be stripped. So I said, fuck it, I'm gonna order some new ones. And then I have my head gasket here, which I'll actually talk about a little more in depth in when I start installing this, because there's a couple things I want to discuss about this that some of y'all that are messing with LS1 motors and different head packages and whatnot needs to know, because I'm gonna be honest, I didn't know this when I first did it a while back, right? But yeah, let's go over here. Look at that. We back in business, baby. So I did have to go to the machine shop to press out this wrist pin because I don't have a press here. It needs to be pressed out. It's not like the floating pins where it has like this C-clamp kind of thing, and then you pop it out and you can pull out the pin. So these do have to be pressed in. Another note I want to talk about is the orientation of the piston and rod, because they do have to go a certain way, right? So if you look at the top of the piston, it has a little dot. That dot faces to the front of the engine. And then if you look at the rod, you can tell it has two different sides. Like this side is like kind of like beveled, and this is like straight. The straight has to face to the front of the engine, and then the round beveled part has to face to the rear. And my application, they all do face the same way, so that's gonna be good to go. But yeah, so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna throw this bad boy in there. This bad boy in there. Okay, I'm back in the garage. I already got the rod installed. I didn't film it because I had to go somewhere and install it pretty quick. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But yeah, I'm back in the garage. And it's kind of funny because it kind of brings me back to when I first started building the engine and like putting it in the car and doing the swap in the first place. Because I used to come down here in the garage like late at night when everybody was asleep and my son's asleep, and then I would come down and work on the Z. And here I am now. It's nighttime, the garage is shut, and I'm just trying to put this thing back together so I can put it back in the Z as soon as I can, right? We do got it back installed. I just got torqued down the ARP bolts to like 70 pounds, and then I can start putting everything else back on the top, on the bottom end, and then flip it around and then get everything started installed for my head to go back on, and then we'll be good to go. So let's get this ball rolling. good idea to put some gasket sealant, like silicone gasket, right here at the back and in the front. So like these two areas and these two areas, it tends to leak from there. So, and it does because it happened to me before in the past. So it's just a smart thing to do, just to add a little bit right there. You'll have no problem. Got it flipped over. Means we're on the home stretch a little bit. Let's see. It all moves good. It comes up. Okay. I know y'all don't want to see any of me scraping off this graphite head gasket with a razor blade, so I'm just gonna go ahead and fast forward it for y'all because I know y'all don't want to see any of that. So let's just skip ahead. Boom, there you go, nice and clean. It does take a while, I'm not gonna lie. Let me show y'all. Let me show what I mean. You have to razor blade the whole thing, the old gasket off, and then I just use a Scotch-Brite pad to scuff it up after you razor off the gasket. But yeah, no longer gonna have this issue because I have something to show you that I'm gonna explain to you why I'm using this over, using the graphite one that I did have. What we have here is a MLS head gasket. It's your multi-layer steel head gasket, which is typically used on most LS's. But since I'm running, if anybody's out there running an LS, I'm running a kind of old style heads. They're 806 heads. So with the 806 heads, they have a little notch in the head With having that, you have to run the graphite gasket so there's no leaks. If you run an MLS head gasket with one of those 806 heads, the older style ones, you're gonna get some leaking, usually in the back area. But this company, W6Store, I think.com, they've created MLS head gasket dedicated to those notches within those heads, so you won't run that issue no more. And I'm super stoked, because then I won't have to go back and scrape off everything that you just saw here and do all that. But these little notches in here, you see them, and hopefully everything goes as well. But yeah, it's just like this. So yeah, let's get these installed and bring the heads over. Well, first I'm gonna clean out all this junk and get it all cleaned up before we move on. So I just looked back, and it was ws6store.com. So check them out. I'll put the link in the description, so you can check out the heads if you need some head gaskets and stuff like that. Hit them up. All right, before we put the heads on and all that stuff, the first thing we gotta do is put the lifters in. So like this. This part right here faces the piston, and obviously this part is grooved for that little screw area right there. I'm going to tighten down, make sure all these studs are nice and tight before I put the heads on. I could do it after I put the heads on, but I might as well do it now since it's up here. One. These things are way too nice. Goes on that button. These don't have labels where they go, it tells you front, left, right, whatever. But if you have a brain, you'll know which way they go. Look at that. Before I put the other head on, I wanted to show you that notch so you understand what I mean. The notches is right there. A typical head gasket will just have it straight going across it, so it tends to leak out of there. So you want another gasket that has an indentation there, so it goes actually around it, and that's why. The other normal other heads don't have that notch, so just straight. And then if you are asking, I did have to clean the backside of these heads as well, so to get rid of the old head gasket. Okay, so I fast forward a little bit because I torqued down everything. I bought some new ARP nuts because some of mine were stripped. The bolts themselves, the studs themselves are perfect, they're already good. But I got them all torqued down, everything. The only thing I gotta do next is set the lash, the valve lash for each one of these roller rockers. These are comp cam roller rockers, so there's a certain step you have to do. This red stuff that you see on the valve springs and stuff like that, I'll always use valve train assembly spray when I'm opening up the valve train and putting it back together. So I spray all that in there so everything's good. But both sides are torqued down, just gotta do the valve lash and then we can move on to the next one. So make sure you pick up that spray. Also, when good thing to have is this on hand too. So when you're doing your ARP studs, you can you have the lubrication needed for it. Also pick up some engine assembly. I use the Comp Cam one. I put that on everything that pretty much I touch. So yeah, that's good. So let's move on to the next step, which is pretty much gonna set the valve lash. And then once you do that, then I can actually probably put it in the car, and then we can put the intake manifold on and start doing that stuff, and I can change out my injector. We are done setting the valve lash on the rocker arms. So what I'm gonna do now is put on the valve covers, and I'll probably put in also my spark plug wire, so it'll be easier for me to do that here than put them in the engine and trying to mess with that. But yeah, once you get those two things on, and then we'll kind of strap it up and then throw it back into the engine. And I also have to wrap this wire some more because it looked like it was gonna burn through. So let me go ahead and do those couple of things, and then we'll get the engine back in the vehicle. I want to give y'all a little tip. When tightening down these valve covers, the torque spec on them is very low. So what you want to do is grab yourself a 1/4 ratchet, right, and tighten it down with that so you don't over tighten it with something bigger. I have done that before and snapped it. I haven't extracted that bolt yet because I do plan to switch out the head and stuff, so I'm not too worried about it. So just go ahead and tighten it down, just snug with your hand, and you should be good. Just a little tip so you don't snap these bolts. Sometimes I get so worried to tighten these things, but then there's other times where I don't tighten them enough and they leak at the bottom just a tad because I run these spacers, which I probably don't need to run them, but I do it for safety, just in case my rocker arms hit the valve cover or anything like that. But we should be good. Got the engine installed, we're good there. But it was a pain to get the headers on because on the driver's side you have to have the engine up a little bit to scoop in the headers. So it is kind of pain, but it's doable, right? So the engine's in. Next thing we gotta work on is changing out these injectors. We got the new DeatschWerks injectors here. And we're gonna swap out these janky ass injectors that I got that always seem to give me problems, right? This is like I want to say my third or second set of injectors from this company, and I've always had problems with them. So we're gonna try a new company and see how it works. So let's get installing these. One thing I do want to might change out from swapping over these injectors is I replace my O-rings for the bottom of this because these take a certain size, and if you run too small of an O-ring right here, there's some vacuum leaks can happen. So I might swap out these to go onto DeatschWerks. I want to see compare the two. Yeah, mine is so much bigger. The weird cool thing about these injectors, or I don't know if this cool, I don't really like it, but they have these adapters right here, so I guess you can change out if you weren't running different wiring harness, but I'm gonna have to run them for mine, so they'll probably sit up a little higher. But they look a lot cleaner, look all small. Let's see. Alright, let's get it. And to help to get these O-rings on the other one, just get some gel. Some silicone gel, so I can just slide on there. There you go. And then that, compared to how that one is, you can tell the difference. Let me show you. So these are the difference. This is the one it comes with, and this is the O-ring I'm replacing it with. You can tell how much bigger it is. That's so it can sit into here and won't give me no leaks. One side down, let's go to the next side. I just noticed that this one actually comes with some grease on it with it. So that's kind of cool that they supply this, but I already have my own, so in like I own a container, silicone grease. So that's kind of cool. But it looks like some of my tabs did break off of here. I'll have to show you. As you can see, it has like a clip right here for the connector, the extra adapter connector. And on here, it broke off on like 2 or 3 of them. Which not gonna really bug me because I'm not removing these connectors off the injectors because they go with my harness, right? So, but yeah. All right, there you go. Engine's back in here, rods replaced, everything's good to go back on, injectors replaced. We'll see how those hold up. I never used these DeatschWerks injectors with the fast rails, so we're gonna see how that goes. Hopefully they have enough O-rings up here and everything, so no leakage. So let's cross fingers with that. That'll be another issue when we come to it. But thank y'all for watching. Until next time. Next video is going to be a transmission video because I need to dive into that and see what's wrong with that. But till next time, thank y'all for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, do all that. Till next time, peace.